Seltzer Kings.
Podcasts.
So, are you, happy?
What?
Oh, you look sort of down.
You been watching me?
No, I was looking towards there. And you walked through there.
You don't hit on girls very often, do you?
It's been a while. I'm sort of new in town.
Do yourself a favor. Don't stay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Boys Watching Angel. You requested it, you wanted it so bad, and now you got it. Here we are. We're your hosts. We're just two boys watching every episode of Angel, giving our review and our reactions. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welkie.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about episode 1, City of. Directed by Joss Whedon, written by Joss Whedon and David Greenwalt. The original air date is October 5th, 1999, to an audience of 7.47 million people. This beat out Buffy.
Wow. I mean,
it was released on the same day, and it got like 500,000 more viewers.
So people were off of the Buffy train and were like, I'm all about it.
It's crazy to think that like people were like, I watched Buffy for Angel. Or if this trend continues, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's wild that they jumped ship on Buffy and they're like, I'm an Angel loyalist. Fuck Buffy.
Yeah, I mean, I will say David Boreanaz does have his following.
He does. Yeah. I mean, he's got an amazing, illustrious career. Mm-hmm. And this, I am so pleased with this first episode of Angel. I thought this was like the perfect spin-off pilot. I thought it was so enjoyable and I liked so much of it. And I think that they did, though we talk about on Boys Watching Buffy how much like brooding Angel sucks and like the mopey shit was lame. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of that, I feel like, here. But I liked this Angel so much better than any Angel we've seen before, aside from Angelus.
I came in and I've been a proponent of like, I don't really want to watch Angel. Like, just overload of Buffy and but I watched this and I was like, yeah, this isn't bad.
Yeah.
I will say, I did make the prediction that it's going to be Joss Whedon's Batman.
Yeah, you're absolutely
and
right.
My God, is it Batman?
Like, it is literally a Batman.
I was watching the beginning and the end of this and I was like, oh, he's standing on a rooftop. Oh, he's brooding. They call it a bat cave.
Dude, he literally does like the cape flourish at a certain point. He's got a convertible.
Yeah.
He's driving around like a cool bat car.
Yeah.
Like, this Angel kicks ass, dude.
Yeah. Angel's sidekick, Robin, not so much.
I kind of like everybody listening, we're going to do these episodes a little differently than we do Boys Watching Buffy, where we, Boys Watching Buffy, we like break down scene by scene. We're going to be a little bit looser with this just because.
Yeah, we're going to float around with scenes and, we're going to float around with scenes and just kind of hit some big talking points. And like, we're just not going to do the full plot breakdown of scene by scene.
Exactly.
But yeah.
So this episode starts out with it. I just have no idea how to podcast without doing that.
He's pretending to be drunk in a bar. And,
But Angel has a little sidekick guy named, he just goes by Doyle in this episode, but he has a full name. His name is Alan Francis Doyle. And he's a half human, half Bracken demon, according to Wikipedia.
His introduction is the most exposition dump introduction I have ever seen in anything in my life.
I did hate his introduction.
I hated the intro. Like, he comes, so Angel fights some people in an alleyway, and he's like just like a Batman fighting villains in a
little melee fight, saving some helpless women.
And then he goes back to his Batcave lair. They're just like so convoluted. Like, he has so many rooms. Yeah. He moved from that castle in Buffy to this. Like,
Well, he has like a little secret elevator too. I was like, dude, this dude is
He's got a tunnel.
Ass.
He crawls through the tunnel that opens up into the room later.
Yeah.
But this guy Doyle, who the actor is actually from Ireland, full Irish accent, which is a little dig at Angel for his Irish accent in the past in Buffy series. And I don't know why this guy had to be Irish. He just shows up, walks into Angel's apartment or his place, and he's like, "Oh, you don't smell like a human." And then the guy sneezes and you see demon face or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just goes on to tell the story of Angelus in full detail. If you didn't watch Buffy, he just runs it all down.
Well, I forgot to mention this in our episode of Boys Watching Buffy when we talk about the first episode of season 4. They're going hog wild with the like, check out our new special effects department. We're going to have people changing faces all the time and stuff.
Yeah, I wrote that down. The face changing is so much quicker, and like they figured out that technology. It's not like, all right, they cut to a shot and a person standing in front of a green screen. It's like instantaneous now.
Yeah, because in the first episode of season 4 of Buffy, like 3 people did it like right away.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, they must have got a bigger budget. They're flexing on us
the
now.
Whole summer they were just computer artists. Like, how can we get faces of morph really, really quick?
And so we're watching it like you guys told us to, where it's like you got to watch Buffy first and Angel next. And then so I watched them back to back.
Same.
And then this happened and they had Doyle do it and they had Russell do it, who is like the villain of this episode. And I was like, man, they're really showing off right now. They're flexing on you boys.
Yeah, they are. It took Buffy 4 seasons, but they got it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty good. The Doyle shit, he's got like a bunch of purple spikes coming out of his face. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
And Angel doesn't know who this dude is and just lets him go on.
Yeah. I mean, he gives Angel's whole life story to Angel for like 4 minutes. And then Angel's like, yeah, I know, I lived this.
He's like, you fell in love with a girl, you had sex with a girl, and then
pure happiness.
And then
perfect happiness.
Doyle goes on to be like, I don't know, I just get random visions. I'm like, no, you're not getting visions, you're getting whole movie clips, dude. Like, if you know all of this,
Well, he describes that he is sent to Angel by, quote, the powers that be, which is something that I read about on Wikipedia about, like, these are the people that brought Angel back from hell when he came back from Buffy. And he didn't understand his purpose. So I guess Doyle is here on behalf of the powers that be to give Angel his little purposes on a weekly basis, but then like an overarching thing.
Which is one of those like interesting. There was a show called the Morning Edition, Early Edition.
Yes, and I remember this show.
The person that created that show was my screenwriting teacher in college when I was at Drexel. That guy, I think he had created that show, and the actor in that's the guy from Friday Night Lights and whatever.
Kyle Chandler or whatever. Is that his name?
Yeah, Kyle something.
I'm pretty sure it's whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, Morning Edition was basically a guy wakes up and every morning he gets a newspaper and it has tomorrow's headlines, and he would go and like solve the crime or whatever. In this, they have almost a similar thing, but this guy's like, I got a note. It says meet a girl at a diner.
This guy Doyle gets like migraine visions from the powers that be, that are people or things or whatever that Angel needs to go and help or solve a case or whatever. And I was like, I kind of like the concept of that. I mean, I
like the concept. I think they could have just split I know. You know what's interesting, because the Buffy pilot, they don't go into her backstory of like, oh, you had a watcher come, and they didn't do all of that with the Buffy pilot. But with this, they just had this dude info dump, and it's not the worst thing if you just want to get it out, but I don't think it was needed. He could have just said like bits and pieces of it, or they could have sprinkled it at least for the first half of the episode. But when he just comes in and he's just walking around, I'm like, Angel, why are you letting this guy walk behind you on the couch? You don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
You seem like nonchalant, like you've met him before.
Angel takes off his shirt. He's just wearing his tank top.
He's like,
he sits on the couch.
I'm really bored now. Like, what? Dude, a demon just walked into your house. Look alive.
But yeah, Doyle basically tells him like your purpose, why we brought you back, is you're saving people by killing these vampires, but you're saving their lives, but you're not really saving their souls. These people need more like saving. It's not just enough to like keep them alive. You have to like actually help them, and like so Angel has to like be Batman plus a therapist.
Yeah, it's like you got to be a part. Yeah, it's really that Batman thing. Like he's Alfred right here, being like, hey, you gotta like, you can't just separate yourself from humanity. He's like, I just want to hunt vampires at night. It's like, no, but you have to be a person too.
Yeah,
it's like,
he's like, I'm not good with people.
Then they go get a drink or something, and he's like, hey, have you looked at yourself in a mirror? I think you could talk to ladies.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you can't see yourself.
Well, yeah, Doyle's vision that he got for this is like he has to go help a lady named Tina at a coffee shop. That's all he has. And Angel's like, well, what am I supposed to fucking do with this? Like, Tina at a coffee shop? Like, how am I supposed to go up and talk to her? Yeah. And Doyle's like, dude, you'll be fine. Look at you.
Here's what I'll say also. Everybody knows Angela's story, it seems.
Yeah.
Like, this guy could be anybody. Right? And he has a note on a napkin. Like, it's nothing official.
Well, it's like everyone knows Angela's story, but Angel does no digging into the backstory of like this guy Doyle. Like, I wouldn't trust him at all. I could give you
a message right now, Joe, and be like, hey, meet Tina at a coffee shop at 7 p.m. And you would go to that coffee shop, and there's a chance you might meet a Tina there.
Absolutely there is. I'd be like walking around like, Tina? Tina? Like a big dumb dipshit. But I also like you get to see Angel put on different faces, not just like physically like vampire face, but like he has to like learn to act because he's.
You mean like the Batman mask? You know, it's the mask we wear.
Yeah. But he has to like act like a normal guy. And he's at a coffee shop and he's trying to like put on the charm on this girl Tina so he can figure out what's wrong with her life. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because he's like being an awkward dude and like, I don't know how to hit on people these days anymore. And she's like, oh.
And I was like, we didn't tell you to hit on her.
Yeah.
The message didn't say that.
So Tina is basically talking about how, you know, she's being harassed by some guy named Russell or something. And Angel is like, I'll take you out after you're done your shift. And so he's waiting for her after her shift, and she comes out with pepper spray in hand. She's like, you're one of Russell's guys. And he's like, I just wanted to fucking have a chat and think that we had something in common, you know.
The best thing is she's like dressed in her like coffee shop like blouse and like apron thing.
Yeah, apron and shit.
And then when she comes out, she's dressed like she's in a cocktail dress. Like he's like, I feel underdressed now. And then she puts the mace. I'm like, why would you tell him to wait for you afterwards if you were just gonna mace him?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
she's asking for extra shifts too because she needs money to get out of town. And I'm like, the threat that she's under, you just get out of town. Yeah. Like, you just steal money from the cash register and leave. Like, if you're going to split town, just steal from the cash register, buy your bus ticket, and bounce.
Well, she even, like, mentions later on in the episode, like, you can't just get out of town. It's like, then why were you trying to get out of town? Why are you working all those extra shifts?
Yeah. Like, working a double is not going to help you. It keeps you in a trapped spot that they know where you are.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. But, so... the reason why she gets dressed up in her little cocktail dress because she's going to some party where she's meeting her friend, and her friend owes her security deposit money, and Angel's like, I'll go with you. So they go, and Angel runs into Cordelia there, who she's like, I'm a famous actress now, and Angel's looking at her like, how come I haven't seen you in shit?
She says, I'm living in a small condo in Malibu, and my thought was, weren't you homeless? When we left you in Buffy? Like, your family was poor, they lost all their money.
I will also say about this show, it definitely has a different feel than Buffy.
Oh,
like the soundtrack is like really detective showy. And it's like, there was one scene where Angel was just like walking through his apartment, like that first scene where he's in his apartment. That song was sick. I was listening, it was like this sick bass line, and it's like, man, this is a banger.
It's a different
and they have
show.
Different transitions and cuts and stuff.
What did you think
like
about the transition? Okay, yeah. The transition of these like flash cut edits, like it's almost like we're seeing what. I mean, it makes zero sense, but it's almost like we're seeing what's in Doyle's head when he sees like highlights. But it's like flash cut to like a random scene or the scene that they're in, and it transitions. I'm like, this is just, it's too busy without any. It feels like it's trying to be cool without having a purpose. I don't know.
Yeah, they're going for a style of this show, and like it kind of reminded me of, there's an anime called Samurai Champloo, and their transitions, they do like this record scratch type of deal, and it like kind of just redoes this scene at the end, and it kind of reminded me of that because it was like these weird jump cuts, and it's like Angel would be driving to he's driving to that party to go meet up with Tina or whatever. And it'll be like him getting in the car, cut him driving in the car on the street for literally like half a second, cut to him pulling up to the party. I was like, okay, I mean, I guess that's a way you could do this.
Yeah. Or you could just cut to the next scene. Like it's like a style. It's a stylistic choice. Maybe they fine tune it from the pilot.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably get used to it. But like the Samurai Champloo thing with the record scratch, the first time I saw that, I was like, this is fucking terrible. I hated this.
But then you got used to it.
And I got used to it. And that show's really amazing. But so hopefully it'll happen with this.
At this party, also, someone wants him to be an actor. He gets hit on by a manager that's like, you're an actor. He's like, no, I'm not. Yeah, you are. You're funny too. Yeah, I'm not hitting on you. I'm dating someone else.
Well, also, I feel like this episode, at least, does the comedy in Angel better than Buffy did.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, this was a pretty funny episode. And, like, you know, we Angel, like, I was always confused about his characterization in Buffy because he's supposed to be brooding, but then every couple of episodes, they just made a complete ass out of him. And I was like, well, what is he supposed to be?
Yeah.
Like, this is so much cooler of a dude.
He didn't trip over a doorway I thought he might. It's just like, oh, crime scene, trip.
But like his interactions with Cordelia, like here when he's like, oh, glad to see you haven't really changed much.
I think him and Cordelia are going to be fire together.
Yeah, I mean, even Doyle, like I think the three of them, when I saw at the end of the intro, it was Cordelia, Angel, and then some mystery guy at that point. I was like, who's this third guy? And then when Doyle shows up, I'm like, oh, I can see this being pretty fun.
Yeah, I think Doyle's character will need to get some edges rounded off of him. He's like kind of comic relief, kind of like all over the place right now. I think once they figure out his character a little bit more, I think he can work.
It's funny to see Doyle because Doyle is doing what Angel did to Buffy. Doyle's doing that to Angel because he shows up with like some cryptic message and is just like, hey, you figure it out. But he's also like part watcher too, or
it feels
something.
It feels like Doyle is all in Angel's head. like
his imaginary friend.
Yeah, like when they're talking, it's like, oh yeah, it's just like there and he's talking to himself basically.
Yeah, I could see that. But like a little fucking Fight Club situation. Tyler Durden.
Cordelia's like, who are you talking to, Angel? It's season 3. You're like, what?
Well, Doyle is also like, I don't want to get involved in any of the fighting. I'm just the guy. I'm just the messenger.
Yeah, I was like, how long have you been doing this? This isn't the first guy you come up to, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, you just walked into a vampire's place, knows his whole history about him being the most ruthless killer in the world, and you're just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. He's just gonna like kind of like poke the bear a little bit too. He's like kind of a dickhead to Angel. He's like, you ain't got any fucking beer down here, dude. Loser.
But at this party, she gets harassed by Tina, who's at the party with. She gets harassed by some guy named Stacy.
Yeah.
And
he's one of this bigger head honcho guy, Russell's goons.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, who? He's like, who's that? She's like, no one. And they're leaving, and they just like accost him getting out of the elevator. They like kidnap Tina. They drag Angel into the elevator.
Back into the elevator.
And at first I was like, come on, he's got to beat them up and get out. He does, but they have enough time to get her in the car and start driving away. He comes out of the elevator and jumps into a convertible, right? And tries to start it, and no keys or anything. And he looks across and sees another convertible, like the exact same one. And he goes, ugh. Yeah. Did he just hop in the wrong car?
He did. I loved that.
Yeah, I was like,
this is funny Angel.
Yeah,
like this is the kind of shit that we should have been having him. Like this is so much better use of him.
Yeah, and him hopping in the car was really cool. Like the edit on it and him jumping in, I was like, this is a hero shit right here,
dude. Yeah. When he came out of the elevator and you don't even need to see when you see them drag him in there. I was like, those two guys are fucked.
Yeah.
And then you just see him knocked out on the ground of the elevator, him darting out. I was like, hell yeah, this is exactly right.
Yeah.
This feels like solid. A different guy.
Yeah. It has
I
to
know
be.
It's the same guy.
Yeah.
But this feels wholly different than the Angel that was moping around.
It's a
Buffy.
nice in-between from Angelus and Angel.
Yes, because he's like charismatic and charming. Yeah. Like Angelus, but he's also got like the dark past. And he's trying to make up for his sins or whatever.
Like even in the beginning, when he's pretending to be drunk, and then all of a sudden he just like straightens up and follows his guys out. It's like, oh yeah, Angel's a badass.
Yeah. But we find out, Cordelia's not doing as well as she made it seem. She's living in an apartment. She can barely afford the rent, and she can't afford to eat something. She's doing all this like positive energy meditation and shit.
Stealing hors d'oeuvres from the party to eat.
Yeah. Angel rescues Tina from the goons, and he takes her back to his place. And she's like, what? I guess you want me to suck your dick now? He's like, whoa, no.
Did she say that?
No. She was like, she said, so this is the part where you want to try and comfort me now, huh? And he's like, no, this is the part where you have a safe place to stay. And she's like, what?
She's like, with all the weapons on the wall and the blood in the fridge? He took me back here? I'm going to get murdered, right? Like, that's the plan, right? You're a serial killer.
Dude. He has like a gigantic axe and a huge knife on the wall, just like out in the open, like it's decoration.
In the other room where he was having a conversation with Doyle in the beginning, he has like a case full of ancient weapons.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a place you bring a human back to.
Absolutely not.
And then she goes on to describe Russell.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this guy loves pain. He likes pain so much. If you're with him, you disappear. If you're a girl and you try to run away, you'll disappear from the face of the earth. And like she paints a picture of this as the worst person in the world.
I was like, is this Christian Grey? What is this?
And then we get a great scene after this.
No.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, when we do get to see this Russell guy, it doesn't seem like he like wastes any time with like, I'm gonna kill whoever. He's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Well, I think he does play with some people, and then some he just eats.
Well, I feel like we didn't really get to see him be like this master of pain or whatever,
Yeah, I think, but he would have I think he knew. Well, the next scene, Angel goes into a library.
Well, no, he digs through Tina's purse and he looks through her like contact book and he's like, huh.
And then he goes and researches at a library. And he has 3 computer monitors next to each other, and he's on all 3 of them and sliding his chair back and forth. This is a guy who didn't know how to use computers in Buffy.
Yeah. He figured it out over the summer. He moved to LA and figured out computers.
Well, it was just him, and he was just like going from screen to screen. It was like shots of a girl, a close-up of her tattoo. It was so silly.
So through that, he figures out,
and he has a
Tina's
tunnel.
Friend got murdered.
He has a tunnel into his place that has a trapdoor right next to the bed because Tina's like, oh no, Russell's here. She's tossing and turning, and he walks up through the trapdoor. I'm like, you're in a murderer's place.
Yeah, dude, also, like, that fucking tunnel's not going to backfire ever.
I mean, it's a bat cave. It's the Batman. No one ever finds
the bad guys are going.
No one ever finds a bat cave.
There's 5 seasons of this show, Vance.
Well, he's gonna blow up that house at some point and move into a nicer place.
Somebody's got to come through that Batcave aside from Angel.
It's still nice to know that he can get in and out, though.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And even during the day and shit too. So she wakes up and he's like, "I'm here. Has your friend got a tattoo?" And she's like, "Yeah, she's got a rose." He's like, "She's definitely dead."
She wasn't before I left, but I killed her.
Your friend Denise, she's definitely dead. Sorry, hate to break it to you. Oh, well, one of the other things that Doyle mentions in his like little speech is like, you're doing all this like life saving, but you're drinking all this pig's blood. Mm-hmm. Eventually, you're gonna want to feast on some human. But when's the last time you had some human? He's like, the last time I had a human was Buffy. He's like, you're gonna have a taste for that again, buddy.
Yeah. Because in the beginning, he sees the girl bleeding, and he's like, "Get out of here!" Yeah,
he maintained his composure through Buffy like constantly. He never had any kind of like crazy shit like that happen. He had Faith's bloody knife in front of him. Mm-hmm. People were bleeding all the time.
Yeah,
in front of him, and he was never like, "Ugh."
Yeah, but that butcher shop was hooking him up, man. That's meat.
True. That meat guy. Yeah. He's got a blood guy,
and he had the blood bank deal too.
Oh yeah, true. He knew about the blood bank. Everybody knows Wednesday's the drop-off day.
Yeah. So then she wakes up and she sees the napkin with Tina coffee shop 5 p.m. or whatever, and she flips out. She's like, "You're one of Russell's guys," and she goes to leave, and he's like trying to keep her back, and she pulls him in the sunlight, and they use that face turn quick, man. It's really good.
His hand bursts in the flames too.
Yeah, and then
she's like, "You're fucking worse than whatever Russell is. God damn, what the fuck are you?"
Well, this later scene, she goes back to her place and she's packing up, and she's got a gun, right? Mm-hmm. And then Russell just shows up at the door.
Yeah,
and I was like, "All right, Russell's there." She's pointing a gun at him. She's like, "Oh, this is where you live. I own the building. You were right under my nose the whole time." Like he didn't figure that out, like at all.
Yeah,
and then she goes, "Oh, I don't know who that guy was, but he was really weird and freaky." And Russell's like, "Hey, no, your friend Denise, she's fine. I just sent her back home." And she falls
gaslights the fuck out of her.
But how does she was the one that just told the story about him torturing people.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, she's the one running away from this Russell guy. She's like, "He's evil, he's evil, he's evil."
Yeah.
And then she sees one fucking vampire. And then she runs running to Russell.
Yeah, I was just like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, you think Russell sent the vampire after you?
Yeah.
Like, so why is she lets her guard down, like, in a weird way. It's not like the gun would have done anything, but because he turns out to be a vampire and he bites her in the neck.
Yeah.
And I was really happy with that. I was happy because I was like, holy shit, they actually killed this girl off. He didn't save her.
Yeah. And he shows up at the crime scene. He sees blood coming from her neck. He's like, "Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck."
And the Los Angeles medical people are like, "I don't know what this is."
Yeah. Isn't there something like that happening in Sunnydale?
I also thought he should have, like, if she wasn't fully drained, get a little taste. Get a little taste.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's blood.
Do that.
Like, at one point I'm thinking,
a vampire, you're not hurting anybody at this point.
A vampire's got to eat, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, if you're a vampire, like, what are you supposed to do? Do you just kill yourself? Or you just gotta, I guess you gotta be like...
Yeah, pig's blood.
Yeah, but you have to be like, have a soul too. If you don't have a soul, you're just Angelus. They can't help themselves.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the girl that was throwing the party that Tina and Angel went to where they saw Cordelia, that guy Russell, he's looking at some footage from the party that the girl Margot, who threw the party, was
camera
taking.
Footage.
Yeah. Hey, look at this girl. Look at her.
Hey, close up some girls.
So Russell's reviewing that footage, and he's got some fucking minion talking to him from a law office.
Dude, who's going to be a big bad?
The law firm. Office.
So this law firm is like, "Hey, we covered up this girl's death that you just killed, and this is our job. We cover up murders." I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's called Wolfram and Hart.
Yeah.
The only reason I for some reason in my head I heard it as Wolfman and Hart, and I was like, that's a little on the nose.
Well, maybe.
But Wolfram and Hart, that's still pretty close.
Wolfman might run the business.
But while he's reviewing this footage, he sees Cordelia and he's like, oh, there's my next victim.
and the lawyer's like, should we get together a plan for a long term? Like, he's like, nah, I just want to eat something.
Yeah.
I mean, you just ate, dude.
Right? He just ate fucking Tina.
Yeah. Greedy. See, when you're a greedy vampire, that's what he's a greedy capitalist and a greedy vampire. So
he tells Margot to hook it up with Cordelia. So Margot calls, and Margot's like a pill popping fucking weird. I was like, what was that?
Is she in on this too?
I think that she was.
She has to be, because she's going to be like, oh, this girl disappeared.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you kind of get the hint that she's in on it because she takes like 9 pills.
I was like, is she a vampire too? Is she having a Bloody Mary blood cocktail? Like,
I don't know, man. But she calls Cordelia and she's like, hey, this rich guy wants to hook up with you. And Cordelia's like, sweet. Yeah. All that positive energy is working.
She's like, the real estate magnate? He's like, yeah, he's connected in the town, whatever.
And this is, he's got a limo for you.
And this like, is the seedy part of being an actress in Hollywood, man. It's still seedy now, but it was a lot seedier.
So a limo goes to pick up Cordelia, and she's all like, oh, man, I'm going to make it in Hollywood now.
She was meditating. She had a meditation for money book that she was doing. Yeah.
And meanwhile, Angel's preparing for war, and Doyle's like, oh, man, you must have seen a lot of wars. And Angel goes, 14, not including Vietnam. They never declared that.
He's like Wolverine in that Origins movie where they just keep fighting in every war because they're immortal.
That's dope, dude. That scene was actually the only good scene in that movie.
Oh, yeah, the beginning Origins? Part. Yeah, and the rest of it's
sick.
Garbage.
Yeah. But so Doyle's like, well, I don't want to drive you to this guy. I'm just the messenger. I'm not getting involved. And Angel's like, well, I'm the message. Deliver me. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Fear me. He's Batman. He's Batman. Fear me.
Pray to me.
It's so true.
Dangling from the... So they ride over to Russell's house, and Cordelia's like, wow, mister, you're a big rich mister, man. And he's like, yeah, what do you want to do? And she's like, I want to be rich and famous. And here's my sob story. My dad didn't pay taxes and they took everything away from me. So now I'm broke.
Yeah.
And Russell's like, cool, I can make you a star, kid. And she's like, wee wee. She's like, wow, you have a really nice place, man. You got a really nice place here with no mirrors and a lot of curtains to block out the sun. Holy shit, you're a vampire. And, you know, we're blazing through this episode, but that's literally how quickly she figures it out. She's
and
like,
I loved it. She's like, I'm from Sunnydale. I know this shit. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like,
yeah.
I love that the world is full of high schoolers from Sunnydale that just spot vampires now.
Yeah. You're just like, oh fuck, this again.
Come on.
But like, I don't understand why. Like, I get that you vampires can't see themselves in mirrors.
Well,
but why wouldn't they just have them?
Because if you're standing next to someone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
fair.
There it is.
Okay.
You don't want it to be so obvious. When you look in the mirror, you're like, oh, you're not behind me. Okay.
But it's like Cordelia saw one room of this house and she's like, you don't have any mirrors in this place.
But she's from Sunnydale.
Okay.
Also, fair. I don't know who has mirrors like in their office like that.
I don't have mirrors fucking anywhere except for my bathroom.
Yeah. But it works. It's fine. I liked it. I like that she's not like completely
oblivious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Russell's like, you got me.
Yeah.
Here's my vampire face. I'm going to eat you. And Cordelia's like, God damn it.
He's like, let me turn my face back and forth a couple more times because it's effect we got it.
Meanwhile, Angel is fucking Batman galore. He's even got a grappling hook like Batman.
So they punch the guard that has the gate. But then I was like, open the gate.
Right?
They don't open the gate. They just like keep it closed and they scale the wall.
Well, he's like, Doyle, you keep the car running, pal. And Doyle's like, all right, I'm cool.
If I'm not back in 10 minutes, I'm not back. I'm like, it's going to take you 10 minutes to get over the fence and run into the house. It's a mansion.
Dude, that mansion, is like, there's so much driveway up to the mansion. But dude, I mean, this is a cool action sequence where like Angel's jumping up on top of like shit, and you really see the full effect of like, here's my vampire powers, dude. Yeah. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
He grappling hooks his way up, and Cordelia's being chased by Russell, and she kind of gets cornered, and he grabs her and he's shaking her, and she's like, oh, no. And then literally a scene from The Batman with Robert Pattinson.
It's 100%.
101-1. Like, Angel is in this dark corner where you can't see him at all. It's just a black void.
Whose place has this dark of a hallway inside?
No clue. He walks out of a fucking black hole. Yeah. But Angel says, I forget what he says in the dark hole, but like Cordelia's like, Angel, is that you? And Russell puts her down, and Cordelia's like, oh shit, Russell, you're about to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Angel walks out of this dark corner exactly like Robert Pattinson's Batman in that first scene where he walks out of the subway.
Yeah.
1-1.
I've never been prouder of a prediction in my life than just being like, this is going to be Batman. Like, it's so much.
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed that shit, dude.
And we've been joking that Buffy is like Batman at certain times too, but like they wanted to make Batman and they made it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Oh my God. And then he ruined the Justice League, or he tried to help the Justice League. Yeah.
Well, the Zack Snyder thing. Yeah, well, they got the cut. They got the Zack Snyder cut.
Yeah, I mean, they're both whatever. Anyway, moving on.
So yeah, he comes out, he starts beating up Russell, and Russell like he saves Cordelia away from Russell. Like, I don't know what happens.
Well, the guards run out.
Oh, the guards
start coming
shooting.
up, and he starts shooting, and he gets in front of Cordelia, takes the bullets, and then jumps off the balcony, which is like huge. And like, it's this falling shot where he's holding her, and she like leaves his hands for a minute.
Yeah, dude, I saw that,
and she's like, "Oh my God, Angel!"
Yeah. When she left his hand, I was like, "Whoa, that was crazy as fuck, dude."
It was a fun stunt.
Yeah.
And then outside, the Doyle's like,
Doyle's like, should I leave? Should I stay or should I go now?
He hears gunshots. He starts to leave. And I'm like, this douchebag. And then he turns back and then he's like, no. And then he rams into the gate.
Oh, that was a great gag too.
And it just doesn't break. And I was like, you idiot.
Yeah, and then Angel and Cordelia come out and he's like, all right, I may wreck your car a little bit. It's nothing bad. It's just cosmetic. Yeah. And then they drive off and
now we're doing scene by scene stuff.
I mean, we got to go through the story.
This part is really, I love this ending. I kind of love this ending.
Yeah, I absolutely love this ending because the next scene is like Russell the next day at a board meeting in a giant skyscraper, and he's talking to the Wolfram and the Hart people and the lawyers there, and he's going over like, here's all what happened last night. This is how we explain it all away. There's a new guy in town. We got to deal with this guy.
Well, that's what they say at the end. But like, they're like, oh, we don't know who this person.
We don't know.
We don't know who he is, and he just
we don't know where to find him. And then he just kicks down the door of the board meeting.
Yeah, and Angel just walked in, and it is blazing daylight.
It is absolute daylight.
It is middle of the day. Mm-hmm. And Angel just walks in and goes over to Russell, and Russell's like, "Hey, man, I'm a business guy. I'm untouchable. I do what I do." Like,
I love he's like, dude, whoa. This is LA, man. We do shit differently here. Yeah. You don't just do this. I bribe all these people. I do good to the community, and then they just let me do whatever I want. So just let me do whatever I want, and I can do whatever I want. And Angel goes, "Can you fly?" And the guy's like, "What?" And Angel just kicks him out the fucking window.
He's in the rolling chair, and he kicks the chair, and the window shouldn't break, but I love that it does. And he kicks him, and I was like, dude, this guy just walked into the place. Like, put your guards up.
Yeah, right?
He kicks him out the window, and he is falling and burning, and the chair's falling, and then the chair hits, and he's already disintegrated.
Amazing. And then back in the office, Angel stands up And he just kind of shrugs his shoulders, goes, guess not. And he just walks out.
So badass.
I loved every single fucking thing about that scene.
And the best thing about that is that he can do that and he knows he's a vampire, so he's just going to disappear. So no one can ever be like, hey, did you kill this guy? It's like, where? Who?
Where's the evidence? Who?
Yeah.
What guy?
Yeah.
There's no guy.
And the law firm is just like, all right, there's a new player in town. No. Wait. Well, like he's on the phone. That lawyer's on the phone with someone. The
We
higher
shouldn't
ups.
disturb the partners about this yet, but there's some trouble a brewing.
Yeah. If I was Angel, I would have thrown every one of them out the window just in case.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because they say they can smell other vampires or smell humans. Mm-hmm. But in the beginning scene, those vampires couldn't tell that he was a vampire. Weird. They didn't. Yeah. I was like, can't you tell when a vampire's near you? Like no heartbeat, like no
vampire
blood
sense.
Yeah.
No breathing.
Yeah.
I still maintain, and I don't know if I think that somebody talked about this, but like Angel shouldn't show up in video cameras, right?
We talked about this in the bonus Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie podcast because they clearly show in that, which is probably not lore to this, but because it's mirrors and reflection, you shouldn't show up in a photo.
Yeah, because we talked about it on Boys Watching Buffy too at a certain point. Because it was
we debated it because in the Cray Lake.
Yeah, and people talked about it on Discord, but I can't remember what conclusion we came to.
If it's cool for the shot, sure.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
But dude, I love this version of Angel. Like this, if the show is like this pilot, like I'm gonna enjoy the show. I was kind of, I was with you.
I know. I was. This kind of hooked me. I'm down for like the action solving a crime. And the end of this is basically Cordelia's like, hey, I'm going to work for you now.
Yeah, we're setting up a business. Yeah, you got to do like your My Name is Earl type of deal where you have to do good deeds. And
she's like, we'll charge people if they're rich for helping them. And then we'll do another thing.
Yeah.
So
obviously it's on a case-by-case basis.
And I'll take a flat rate fee. I'm so interested to see how that works. Yeah. He gets a napkin and he goes up to someone's like, hey, I got a napkin from a demon that said you need protection.
He's like, all right, well, let's invoice him.
Pay me $500.
There is a clip in the intro where Cordelia is holding up a invoice and she's like shaking it around.
It's just going to be her shakedowns on people.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, you're alive because of Angel. Give me your money.
It's going to be like Jessica Jones, My Name is Earl type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think that the way that the characters are going to play off each other is going to be fun. Yeah. And I also like that Doyle calls Cordelia a stiffener.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, oh, dude. He's like, oh, you think she's attractive? She's like, she's quite the stiffener, all right? Like,
well, it seems like they're allowed to curse more, like use cuss words more in this show than they are in Buffy. Because I think that somebody calls them a bastard and somebody says bitch. Like maybe this one was on after Buffy. It was like the late night 10 o'clock show, and they're like, "We're going to see
after
all the
dark.
Yeah. We're going to say all the cuss words." Yeah.
Well, we have to bring up this crucial scene, the crucial scene that ties it to Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode 1.
Absolutely. We hinted about it in Boys Watching Buffy.
He called. He just calls, and you hear Buffy on the line saying, "Hello, hello," and he hangs up.
Yep. He's still not over her.
I'm like, you're doing that? The girl has enough going on. Now she's getting harassed on phone.
I just don't know how they're going to move past that story. Like,
of him hooking up with other girls? Because it looked like that was going to happen in this one.
Yeah. Well, I just don't know how they're going to move past his love for Buffy, because it's like, she's the only girl I've ever loved in 240 years. And like, I'm still calling her. It's been months.
Cordelia's gonna be like, "This is how you get past this."
Yeah, you gotta fuck.
She's gonna hit
period.
Oh, gross. She's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I got a lot of hot actress friends."
Yeah,
and if you don't love them, you can have sex with them. Apparently,
true. You can get your quote perfect happiness.
But if he's having sex, someone has to wait outside the door with the steak.
Well, Doyle says something like, well, you got yours or something. Like, as long as you got yours, you got your moment of perfect happiness. And I was like, oof, taking a shot at Angel not getting Buffy off, you know?
Oh, was that what he was doing? I started zoning out when he was going through the whole history of and flashbacks of the show that we've been talking about extensively.
Yeah. But that is it for this first episode. I mean, I think that you could tell through this. I was stoked watching this. I was like, this is much better than I was hoping for. I like this a lot.
It's different than Buffy, and it's not better or worse or it's just different, and it's exciting, and it actually works as a whole separate thing. Like once they get further away from it, I think it'll be even better because then they won't have to keep tying things to Sunnydale. Like you need to do that to get people to watch at first, but then you can become your own thing later. And let's just say David Boreanaz is fun to watch.
Yeah, it's fun when he gets to actually act and not just lay with his head down and say 3 words and then look mopey the whole fucking show. This is great.
Yeah, he could be and I could understand Whedon being upset about being forced to have Spike come back into the show because he's like, I could have done this with Angel.
Yeah.
Angel could become what Spike is in a certain extent. But now you get 2 of the both worlds. You get a whole new show with Angel. And you get Spike too, so you get 2 of them. So it all works out.
Rolling in them ducats, baby. Rolling in them.
Yep.
But that is it for City of. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing to the Patreon. I really appreciate it. And the next episode, Vance, is titled "Lonely Heart." What do you think?
Oh my God, are they bringing that Lonely Hearts girl back? That was in L.A.
I will say that I am on the Wikipedia page, and it does look like she does make a guest appearance. I think
they love this actress.
I think that it's her. It might not be. I don't know.
I mean, she is in LA last we checked. So
yeah, she was.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe he has to help her because she has guardian angels all over the place.
And I do think that's a good thing. I wrote down in my notes, I forgot to bring this up. Angel is now like a guardian angel for all these people that he's trying to save. And I was like, oh, okay, I get this now. This is good.
And it ends with him on a rooftop, Batman staring over the city.
Yeah, cape flying over.
Yeah.
All right. So that is that for City of, everybody. And stay tuned next time for when we talk about Lonely Heart.
Hey, you're a vampire.
What? No, I'm not.
R2?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Seltzer Kings.
Podcasts.